Joining us now on the line is Bill Hagan, a retired British Airways pilot and aviation security consultant. We thought we'd talk to him about Flight 370, but also his own personal experience in something that has become known as the Nairobi incident. Bill, how are you this morning?
Hello, Larry. I'm fine, absolutely.
This is Brian, but Larry's right here. Okay, let's start out by talking about the Nairobi incident. Tell us your story. This happened in 2000.
That's correct, yes. Which is obviously prior to the events of 2001. So the flight did not operate with a locked cockpit door at that time. The flight would eventually lead to the process which would begin the locking of cockpit doors in the UK. That process was started a few months later and was in itself overtaken by the September 11th events.
And you basically prevented that. You were in the bunk. You were the relief pilot.
That's correct.
And you came to the front when you felt the aircraft lurch, and you had to figure out how to solve this problem. What was your ultimate solution? Well,
the ultimate solution, a few minutes later, was by inserting my middle finger into the right eye socket
of the intruder,
of the assailant.
Yeah. So this guy was a Kenyan student, and he just decided he'd jump into the cockpit and take over the plane?
Well, I believe he planned and decided to enter the cockpit in an attempt to crash it.
Oh, I see. And so he was on a suicide mission there, and he was going to take everyone on the plane down with him.
Well, that's what I believed, and passengers afterwards have said that he actually said that himself, because he felt he was being followed by Arabs with guns.
Oh my! Let me get this straight. You had to gouge his eye out to get him off of the controls.
Well, it's a minor exaggeration to say I had to gouge his eye out.
Oh, you caused great distress to his eye socket. Yes, all right.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that's amazing. And then you're telling us that started the process of locking the cockpit door and keeping it secure.
It led to that. Yes, indeed.
All right. So when you look at Malaysian Flight 370. This obviously had a hardened door to the cockpit.
Yeah.
Are there still weaknesses in that process, though? I mean, I notice when I fly on planes that there are moments where the pilot or co-pilot will come out, maybe to use the restroom.
Well, it's down to the cockpit door security is down to the integrity of the operator, to be honest, and the training that they employ. I flew with two airlines. I flew with British Airways and I flew with EasyJet. Now, British Airways produced a video with which I assisted them, and we repeated the flight manoeuvres, which were much more than just a steep dive. They went on for about 3 minutes. We repeated those extreme movements, and we've shown that, and I've spoken to the operators, the cabin crew, basically, who are involved, and the pilots, and the security of the system is down to how they operate that.
Yeah. All right. So, knowing what you know about airline security at this moment, and knowing what you know that's in the public domain about Flight 370, what conclusions do you come to?
Well, nobody has reached conclusions. It's all speculation. However, I understand, and I don't have much knowledge on this, I understand that there is a possibility of the change of course being initiated by an attempt for the pilot to return to an airfield of which he may have been aware because of a problem concerning smoke. Now, I've only heard that secondhand. I don't know if that's in the official...
But why would there not have been a mayday? Why would there have not been a radio contact?
Okay, well, all pilots have got a sequence they stick to. It's a very logical sequence. We call it aviate, navigate, and communicate. Those are the important things. First one, aviate, you keep the airplane safe. Now, for the first 3 minutes on the Nairobi incident, that was entirely what we were doing. We had no time for anything else. We prioritized keep the aircraft safe. To communicate would have been a waste of time at that particular period until we got the aircraft safe. And the same would apply in any emergency, really. Your priority is to ensure the safe flight of the aircraft. Second to that, then, is you find out where you are. You navigate, and there are inherent problems if you're below the terrain or whatever, and then you communicate.
Yeah, Captain Bill Hagan is our guest. He's a retired British Airways pilot, and he was involved in an incident back in the year 2000, where someone tried to commandeer the cockpit there and crash the plane. And what you just said, this is a theory that I've been seeing about the Malaysian flight, and it seems to be pilots seem to latch on to this more than anyone else. Pilots are suggesting that there was smoke in the cockpit, possibly from a burning tire, the front tire, because that would be right in proximity with the cockpit. The cockpit would get the brunt of it first. And yes, aviate, navigate, and communicate, but by the time the smoke overwhelmed the pilots, they weren't able to communicate. But if they put in the autopilot there a new course to get to a landing strip, and then they were incapacitated, the plane would just fly and fly and fly and fly on that course, right?
That's my complete understanding of it, yes. The aircraft would fly until it ran out of fuel.
Wow. And that would explain some of the movements that we've been seeing.
Why would it then go to 45,000 feet?
I'm not aware that it did go to 40.
Well, that's just one of the theories. We don't know that.
The radar indications seemed that they did a steep climb shortly after that.
Has that been confirmed? I thought that got rebutted. All right. Well, again, and this is the problem with this story. But what we do know is what Bill Hagan had to deal with back in 2000 on the attempted hijack of British Airways Flight 2069. After that experience, how long did you stay as a pilot, sir?
Oh, I completed my time with British Airways, which was up to age 55, and they forcibly retired pilots at that time. And so I then I spent 10 years flying with EasyJet as captain based in Glasgow.
I see. And I'm guessing that experience stays with you. Are you still, you go around and talk about this experience and sort of lend the information to all civilians so they understand exactly what pilots have to go through in these cases?
Yes, that's correct. I do have a presentation, yeah.
All right. Well, Captain William Hagan, we thank you so much for joining us. Greatly appreciate you joining us here on Mornings on the Mark.
Such a dramatic account. Thank you for that.
Okay. You're most welcome.